I'd like to warn you, the following contains mature content and murder of certain ponies that some of you may like. Please listen to your own discretion. It was a glorious day in Ponyville, where all the ponies were at play and work. The work ponies were finishing lunch in a lovely afternoon, and the small school ponies were at recess, enjoying the sunny day. It was the daily routine in Ponyville, and nothing seemed out of place. The local Ponyville library, however, looked like a darker place than before. The colors weren't as bright as they used to be, but instead with a darker hue. Ponies say it's because the library tree is growing old, but some school ponies started a rumor saying it got that way ever since a particular day. Inside the library was Spike the Dragon, putting away books into the right shelves. His morning routine was ruined when Twilight gave him a list of special chores. It was terribly long for a baby dragon to do all by himself. Regardless, he agreed to do it anyways. While Spike was putting the books away, some pony knocked on the door, and then a thud was heard outside.
"Special delivery for Twilight Sparkle!"
A muffled voice called. Spike chuckled a bit at himself and walked towards the door. When he opened the door, he saw Ditsy-Doo balancing a package on her head. When she saw Spike, she stopped and dropped the package, smiling embarrassingly.
"These books are from Manhattan's library,"
she happily said, grabbing a clipboard from her saddlebag. Ditsy handled the clipboard to Spike with her mouth, smiling wide as she did. Spike grabbed a nearby quill inside the library door and signed for the package. He helped Ditsy by putting the clipboard in her saddlebag for her.
"Thank you and have a a great day,"
she said, and with that she flew off. Spike grabbed the package and went inside the library, setting the package behind a closet. He climbed up the ladder and continued his routine. He came across 2 books with an interesting label that looked very familiar. He opened one of the books just to skim through it and find out why it looked so familiar. He grabbed the other book, still holding the precious one he looked at. He felt an itch to his nose, and then a pressure coming. Achoo! Flames burned the 2 book covers, completely turning them into ashes. Spike stumbled backwards, causing the ladder to fall along with him. Once Spike fell down with the ladder below him, a loud crash of glass was heard from the closet, followed by another and another. Books were falling off the shelves, almost hitting Spike. As soon as everything sounded quiet, he dared himself to open his eyes to see what mess he caused. He still had the burnt books in his hand, and saw black bluish liquid seeping out of the closet door. He dropped the books and quickly walked towards the closet. The strong stench of ink made itself known, and when Spike opened the closet, ink was splattered everywhere. He looked at the shelves inside the closet and found all the ink was now gone.
"Spike, I heard a noise down there. Is everything all right?"
Twilight called from her bedroom. He sensed her hooves moving towards her bedroom door and immediately followed with, "Yeah, I just tripped. I'm fine though, so don't come down here and worry." Of course, Twilight didn't listen and trotted down the stairs anyway. Spike panicked and lifted the ladder back to where it was. At least one thing was in place. Before Spike could turn around, he heard a surprised gasp behind him. He looked to see Twilight's reaction on the mess. Right on cue, the closet door creaked open by itself to reveal the splattered ink. Twilight's mouth was gaped and her pupils shrunk. Her eyes darted around, looking everywhere.
"Spike, what have you done?"
Twilight exclaimed. Spike froze into place and tried to find his voice. Twilight didn't wait for an answer at all and trotted in front of the burnt books. It was quiet for a moment, almost peaceful. Spike held his tail, thinking how he could have fixed this. He knew his sneezes were hard to control sometimes, and he knew how to be extremely cautious when it came to that. It was just his second time burning books, and maybe he won't be punished that much. All of a sudden, Twilight screamed as loud as she could and finished with a cry. Spike shook as he heard her, fearing what was to come. Maybe he would be punished. "Why?" Spike gulped. Twilight took a moment before speaking.
"I can't believe it. Burnt these books. They were given to me personally by the princess."
Twilight tried her best to speak normally, but found it difficult.
She told me to take care of him. To take great care of him. Especially the book covers. They were the only copies in Equestria. They were from the Royal Library in Canterlot.
Spike felt even worse than before, and wished to go back in time to stop himself from making this mess. He didn't speak. He didn't want to speak. Why would he, when he heard one of the ponies he cared about? He stayed quiet, and not a peep was heard from him.
The ink. They were gonna supply us for a year.
Twilight continued with a gloomy expression. Spike started to breathe fast, feeling choked up with the tears in his eyes. He quickly blinked those away. Twilight looked worried, a little bit too worried at that. Her mane started to look a little out of place, and so did her tail. She gazed at the charred books once again, getting a good look at them. Twilight twitched one of her ears and started to chuckle. Spike was caught off guard by this, as he watched Twilight's chuckle turn into a laugh. Twilight turned to Spike, smiling wide enough to show all of her teeth.
Don't worry, Spike. I'll take care of it. So everything's gonna be just dandy. Now why don't you go finish up those chores like a great #1 assistant?
Twilight's hair twitched as she watched Spike take a step back. Are you sure, Twi? I mean, you don't have to do this. I can take care of the mess myself and...
Nope.
Twilight interrupted.
You have to go and deliver those books we got in the mail today. You know those ponies who wanted the books here in Ponyville, so go on and deliver those books that those ponies want.
Twilight used her magic to grab the box that was placed behind the messy closet and gave it to Spike immediately. Spike knew this stage, but he didn't know how to get her out of it. Last time she was in this stage, it was about her tardiness with a letter. That was simple to resolve. This problem, however, seemed difficult since the book seemed irreplaceable. Spike held his grip with a box filled with books and looked a little panicked when Twilight cracked another one of her smiles at him. Spike didn't want to go. He wanted to help Twilight instead.
What are you waiting for? Go!
Spike had no choice but to do so. Twilight opened the door for him, and Spike slowly walked out the library with the box. Twilight closed the door as soon as he left, and looked around the library.
I know just how to fix this,
Twilight said, twitching her right eye. Outside of the library was Pinkamena Diane Pie, trotting around in a zigzag-like manner, as if she waited for something to happen. Ever since Twilight's incident with the tardiness of her friendship letter, Pinkamena has grown more attached to Twilight. She was secretly following her the past week, without Twilight noticing her. When she saw the moment where Spike left the library, she knew this was her chance to spend time with Twilight alone. Pinkamena hurried to the front of the library door and didn't bother to knock. She allowed herself in the library, looking for the certain lavender pony. She saw the closet with splattered ink all over the area around it. She saw the books scattered around the room, even some books covered in the spilled ink. She closed the door with her hoof, making a loud noise. She heard hoofsteps coming towards the entrance. Pinkamena was delighted to hear that sound, since she knew who that was. Twilight came into the room, eyes dilated and her smile wide.
Hey there, Pinky. You know, you're the pony I just wanted to see. Can you, a great and wonderful friend, do me another fantastic friend a favor?
Pinkamena blinked before smiling creepily. She knew this was the type of Twilight she liked to be around. She liked the normal Twilight too, but something about this one was unique.
Sure, I'd do anything for my
Pinkamena zoomed close to Twilight.
best friend. What do you need?
Twilight twitched her body, now looking stressed. She still had those important books in her mind, thinking about what Celestia told her about taking good care of them. Oh, how she failed. She then remembered why she needed Pinkamena and smiled.
Well, you see, 2 books were given to me by the princess when I started being her student. She knew I was responsible and gave me your only copies of all of Equestria to me. Today the book covers that she told me to take great care of. Now, it's destroyed.
Twilight twitched while saying the last word, shaking her body. Pinkamena had a feeling she would know how to fix Twilight's little problem without Twilight telling her. Pinkamena thought for a moment, saddened that one of her best friends is upset.
What kind of books were they, Twilight? One of the books dealt with magic for advanced little unicorns that were quite skilled, like myself when I was a filly. The other, however, dealt with the night sky and what happens during that time. Celestia gave that to me because it was the most accurate.
Twilight looked down in disappointment, her tail twitching a couple of times. Pinkamena began thinking, placing her hoof on her chin.
I think I know how to fix this.